welcome back, or just welcome. It's time to do some more stuff. We're working on the 1975 Plymouth Duster today. The new toy, the new addition to the fleet. It runs, it drives, but it doesn't do either very well. And that's what we're trying to fix today. We're going to go tinker with the carb. We're going to go ahead and put a new cap, rotor button, plugs, and wires in it. Kind of give it an all-around tune-up. Get this thing where we can actually get in it, throw it in gear, and have it move around. I was able the other day when I picked it up to, once it came off the tow truck, start it up, turn it around, and pull it into the driveway. But it stalled 4 or 5 times just doing that 100-foot run. So it definitely needs some work before we can take it around the block. And that's our end goal. By the end of today, I'd like to be able to actually pull this thing out, take it around the block, and actually give it a shakedown, which we haven't been able to do yet. So that's our plan. I'm going to get you in here so you can see where we're going to be working and what we're going to be accessing to do plugs, wires, cap, rotor button, and carburetor tuning on a 225 slant 6. Not sure how great this lighting is for you guys, but it's air conditioned in here, so we're just gonna make do. As you can see, there's our distributor cap right down there. Pretty short plug wire runs to all 6 plugs on one side, since we're dealing with that straight 6. They're a little crammed in here, but there is room where we should be able to get in and grab on them. Coil also right there. We'll test that, but the fact that it runs makes me think the coil is probably fine. We'll yank that air filter off, check on the carb as well. We also have a bunch of mess of vacuum lines and stuff in here, and we're going to go through that and sort some of that too, because I think it's got some vacuum leaks affecting the idle. So plan is to start getting into all of that. Show you the part numbers for everything we got as well, and I will post photos and links in the description for all part numbers for the cap, rotor button, the proper wires, spark plugs, and oil filter for this thing, just to make it easy for you guys. So since I plan to be keeping this one for a while, I spent the extra on the Blue Streak brass contact performance distributor cap. CH410 is the part number there. I believe that actually came, I can't remember if that came from O'Reilly's or Advanced. I'll have to check on that, and I'll post it in the description of the video. Looks great from the top. It does have real brass contacts, which I like. All these older vehicles, I try and do brass everything. I even like to do brass plugs and not the platinums or any of that stuff. But I will say I'm a little disappointed in the build quality on this thing. You can see, and I'll zoom you in here, if you look at the way they milled and cut down these points, there's jagged, loose brass in there that you can actually touch and flake off into this cap. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up. There's also some plastic shavings in here. I don't want that stuff coming loose, getting into the distributor. I don't want it to give me a bad signal trying to arc to these tiny little pieces. So I'm going to clean this up, file it down, and do what they should have done from the factory for like I want to say it was like 18 bucks or something I paid for this thing. For a chunk of plastic with a little bit of brass for 20 bucks, I mean, sand it down for me. I mean, come on. Mexico, get it together. But, so we're going to clean that up. A little disappointed there. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Not real familiar with the 225 slant 6. I'll be honest. While I don't know that I would go as far as to say I'm anti anything else, clearly I'm a Ford guy. It's most of the classic vehicles I've had have been older Ford products. So this is a little uncharted territory for me. So I don't know exactly the firing order by heart, how everything hooks up here, so I don't want to get something out of whack. I could go through, I suppose, and number them on the coil and jot some numbers down here, but I think the easiest thing is going to be just put them on the distributor cap. So that's the plan. We're going to go ahead and yank these plugs out. Sweet, found a crusty little pencil in here. Bonus. Reviews from your teacher. Alright, so coil we're going to call good for now. We have no reason. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and hook up our last wire, which is the coil to distributor wire. So we're going to say ignition side is dealt with. Now, this up, everything's in place, all the spark plugs are tight, all the wires are in, they all have good positive connection. I gapped all the plugs at 0.035. The plugs were about right out of the box. There was two that were a little big, I gapped down, but not bad. So we're going to call ignition dealt with. Couple things to note, dumb guy stuff that Mr. Non-Mopar didn't know. That is not a points distributor. It has one of those, I think they call it a reluctor wheel in there with the little points on it that run past the sensor to tell it when it's hitting. So did not have to clean or adjust anything on the points. These plugs, while fairly new looking, were all way gapped out. They're all at least 0.04 or larger. So they're traveling an awful long way. This one's almost 0.043. So they're a little over spec, 0.043. Very oil fouled. And you can tell this thing was running very, very, very rich. I mean, they're black with soot and fuel. They stink like fuel. I've got some sinus stuff going on, and I can smell that. This is the worst of them, so I'll show you this one up close. See if we can. Yeah, look at that. All gunked up. Very, very, very rich, black, sooty. So those needed to be pulled out, and that means we definitely need to tune on that carb, which is our next step. This thing clearly is getting way more fuel than it needs, or at least was. I don't know if somebody's messed with it since then, because it has, like I said, the newer carburetor on it. So it could have been really rich before, and now it's really lean. It could be right now. My suspicion is that it's not correct currently. It's just a little one barrel on it. Tiny little guy. We do have some questionable vacuum lines going into it, so once we get her fired up and rough tuned, we'll hit it with some carb cleaner and see if the idle jumps up. That's a really easy straight fire way to tell if you've got vacuum leaks. There's vacuum lines everywhere on this. So that modulator doohickey I talked about last time, EGR valve, I've heard you can actually unbolt flip that upside down and it will close that passageway off, and you can delete the EGR that way. I'm not going to go deleting everything yet. I want to get to a good square one starting point before I go modifying. So we're going to leave that be for now. All the choke stuff looks to be in place. We're not going to mess with the idles just yet. That enrichment screw looks way off, so we're going to go ahead and run it all the way down, back it out the 1.5 inches to get, or 1.5 turns to get it to a good square one. We'll open the garage up, back her out, and then fine tune and tinker with it from there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Hop it up. intake manifold, exhaust manifold, really go for it, or leave it stock, clean it up, but keep everything original. We got options. Intake and exhaust manifold are a little pricey for it. I found a intake for about $6 something. It was almost $700. Let's call it out the door. Exhaust manifolds, roughly the same. We're probably spending $1,400 to redo both. And if you're going to do one, you might as well do the other because they're connected to each other. And then I got to do a new carburetor. Of course, I have a 4-barrel Holly I could stick on it. I don't know. How much do we dump in it? That's the question. But what do you guys think? What do you want to see happen to this thing? Place your bets. What do you think? Does this bolt just snap right off as soon as I go to do it, and then I hate myself for the next 2 days while I try and back it out and get it fixed? Or does it cinch up? Oh, it's tightening. Not going to go ape on it. Get the lower. That didn't sound wonderful, but it gave a little. Alright. And this is where I'm going to lose all of the cold air that I've been working so hard for. Ease it down. Bye-bye air conditioning. Hopefully the baby adjustments will at least fire up and get me out of the garage. Battery, or maybe the cable should just jiggly on. That's the tightest. Well, they're not the best cable. Let's see what that does. Lights are a little noise. Definitely a battery issue. There we go. Well, we're outside. I think the battery's probably dead. So we're going to try and fire this one up, get it close enough that I can get jumpers on it. See if we can get it cranked. Might be squeaking. So definitely I need to make a recycle run. Oh, there's our problem. Bad body ground.
cast iron case with that. You gotta let it run long enough for it to warm up. Since we know we have that bad ground problem, we're gonna leave our negative cable there. We're gonna connect it somewhere on the frame. And we're going to connect to the other one right here. Using both cables as grounds. Smoking a little, but that's okay. We sprayed that WD-40. We got some oil burning off. I'm not concerned with that. She's running. We gotta let it warm up before we really start dialing anything in. That exhaust is still sitting. We got a back gauge on it. Sounds everywhere. Bouncing around like it's misfiring, or there's a vacuum leak. Because if you do this, she don't like that. But if you do just a little, it should actually jump the RPMs up. Surprisingly strong. Alright, I guess I'm done tinkering for now. I'm getting kicked out.